you might not have a lead problem, right? You might not need more leads. You might actually just need to stop losing the ones that you already paid for. So, because this happens so easily in businesses, right? You get somebody that comes in and they inquire, then they fill in a form maybe, or they ask for more information, or maybe they book a call, or someone just says, can you please follow up with me next week? And then guess what? We get busy, right? We're so busy doing all the other things, and we mean to actually go and reply, and we mean to check in with them, and we know that we need to either send that link or that proposal, the reminder, or just the next step. But suddenly that person that you're supposed to follow up with is sitting buried inside your inbox, or sitting inside the DM that you've read and forgot to unread it so that you remember to go back to it. Or maybe it's just stuck in a spreadsheet, or even worse, just floating around in your head. And that's where I see so many leads actually fall through the cracks, not because you don't actually care or because you're lazy, and it's not because you're bad at sales. Usually it's because there's no simple system that you're holding all of your opportunities in so that you don't forget them. So today what we're going to do is we're going to fix that. We're not going to be making lots of sales feel like pushy or sleazy or gross. And I don't want you building something huge and complicated, but I want you to get clear on where your lead actually sits within a pipeline so that every inquiry has somewhere to go, right? Not every opportunity should have a next step. So tell me in the chat, have you ever tried to remember a lead for later and then thought, oh shit, I never followed up with that person? Drop it yes in the chat if that is you. Now, do you currently have a pipeline in place that actually supports your business and helps you to keep on top of all of those? So if you do, just comment pipeline below and let me know that you've already got one. All right, as always, this is Strategy with Sally. We come here live every single week. We're going to kick it off with our theme song as we wait for all our VIPs to join us inside of the VIP room. And I'll be back in 3.5. Get up and dance or scroll through 3.5 minutes, whatever tickles your fancy. And I'll be back here where we're going to talk about how to fix leads falling through the cracks.
You've been hiding in the shadows way too long. You always thought that you were weak, but babe, you're wrong. Yeah, you better step into the light, just give it a try. Think that it's time you let that spark out. You've been hiding in the shadows way too long. And who cares if you might mess it up? You're stronger than the others think. And who cares if you might mess it up? Go ahead and shine, darling. Go ahead and shine, my dear. 'Cause who cares if you might mess it up? Just shine. You shouldn't doubt yourself, 'cause you're a work of art. You should know that you are perfect with those flaws. Yeah, you better step into the light, just give it a try. Know that it's time you let that spark out. You've been hiding in the shadows way too long. And who cares if you might mess it up? You're stronger than the others think. And who cares if you might mess it up? if you might miss it. Shine, go ahead and shine, darling, go ahead and shine, my dear. 'Cause who cares if you might mess it up? Just shine, shine, darling, go ahead and shine, my dear. 'Cause who cares if you might mess it up? Just shine.
Hello, welcome to Strategy with Sally. It is our weekly live. I'm Sally Sparks Cousins, the founder of OmniSam. I am a tech automation nerd. Yes, I do love that, and sexy, sexy numbers. But every week we come here live and we look at practical business systems and strategies to help you build the right thing in the right order. And today we're going to be talking about one of those systems that quietly affects sales, your cash flow, your confidence, and your client experience. It is your lead pipeline. Now, let me know in the chat, yes, do you have one, or no if you don't? Come on, be totally honest. Get those tippy tap fingers out. Let's get to interactive here because we're going to do some really good stuff together today. Now, today also does come with a workbook. So head to sparklewithsally.com/605, which is today's episode number. So sparklewithsally.com/605. I think that's the right link. Let me know if you can't get it. All right. So when I say pipeline, I don't mean something cold and corporate, okay? I'm actually not talking about a complicated sales machine that might make you actually feel a bit robotic, right? We don't want that. We really do want you to be able to spend time having that human-to-human connection. And I mean a simple way that you can actually manage those leads and know exactly, who has inquired, where they're up to, what has already happened, and what needs to happen next, right? And then what you want to do is stop letting those leads fall through the cracks, because most business owners, they're not actually losing leads because they don't care. I know you're not lazy. It's because losing leads is happening because you don't have a single place to actually track them, okay? And interest comes from so many places. So start writing down now, where are all the places that your interest might come from? Get your tippy tap fingers out and type them for me in the chat. Start thinking and send them on through. Things like emails. Come on, if you're here and you're watching, let's do it. So emails is one. We've got DMs is another. Maybe they're completing forms, various different forms on your website. Maybe they are coming in through comments on your social media posts. Come on, what else can you think of? What are other ways in which leads can be coming into you? Another one could be referrals. Maybe you've got calendar links out there that people are booking. Or maybe they're coming in through a live, just like this one, right? If people are actually interested, Sharon's got forms, social media, emails, marketing, events. Yeah, great. Events, workshops, and various other lead magnets that you've probably also got going. And what happens is there's no one clear place for all of those opportunities to actually end up. They end up scattered across email inboxes and DMs and all those places that we spoke about. Deborah said that no leads yet soon. Yes, Deborah's launching, so she's just about to head into launch mode. We're so excited for her. All right. So today we're going to actually keep this really, really practical. Okay, we're going to look at where your leads usually get lost. Now, I've got a few people saying that they can't find it. Let me just jump across to my calendar and find the link for you for the resource. One moment, please. Ma, you can cut this little bit out if you like from the podcast. Thank you, Ma, when you're editing. It is sparklewithsally.com 605. I will drop it here in the chat for everybody as well. There we go. All right, so let's keep this really practical. We're going to look at where your leads usually get lost, what your pipeline stages are and where they actually sit, and how to actually make follow-ups feel less awkward and more consistent. So we have a goal personally that we want to do at least 15 to 30 phone calls a day. Right? Outbound, checking in on people. We call them love calls. Sometimes it's just to see where they're at. Other times it's to follow up with a lead because they asked. Sometimes it's because we've said, we'll call you back in 3 months, and we remember to do that. So before we get into it, tell me, where in the whole wide world are you actually tuning in from? We love to welcome you. And if you're brand new to Strategy with Sally Live, let us know in the chat as well. We love to welcome new people. All right. So tell me, honestly, who is keeping their leads in a proper pipeline? Plenty of eyeballs out there watching. I can see you all. Are they living across your messages, emails, notes, spreadsheets, and, memory? No judgment here. No judgment at all. This is where most people actually start, right? But the real challenge with lead and follow-up is that it usually doesn't break in one dramatic moment, right? What happens is it breaks over little tiny gaps, right? The inquiry comes in and nobody's triaging it to see, are they a qualified lead even worth connecting with? Or a message gets opened but doesn't actually get replied to properly. I'm guilty of that, opening a message, thinking, I'll come back and reply later. And then I should have marked that message with a little star so I remember to go back, or remark it as unopened. Or maybe someone's booked a call, but there's no reminders. Or if they cancel or try to reschedule, there's no rebooking process. Or if you get to the stage where they're about to say yes and you send out a proposal, but then there's no follow-up because you feel awkward to actually check in with them. So what do? You delay it, which takes even longer to then get that cash flow. Or someone says to you, not right now, and then you don't put them into a nurture path. Now, a lead comes in, it could come in, again, with missing details. Maybe you get the name and the phone number, but no email. Or vice versa, you get the email and no phone number. And then nobody knows what to do with it. So none of these things, they don't feel like a disaster on their own, but over time, they will actually start to add up. And this is really where I want you to start thinking about all of these different entry points that people are becoming a new lead. So rather than thinking, I need more leads, but when you start to look closely, you've already got opportunities potentially sitting there just waiting for you to follow up with them. Maybe they've just not moved properly along in the process. You may potentially, if you've got a team, have multiple people following up and not tracking who they're following up. Or you've got 5 people who inquired last month, 3 who booked calls, 2 who asked for more details, 1 who was a no-show, and a few said maybe later, right? Now, that's not nothing. That's actually an opportunity. But if those people are just sitting there in all different places, there's no real clear next step, right? It starts to feel like chaos. Now, like Deborah's about to launch, imagine you launch and you're starting to get 5 emails a day, right? Now, times that by 2 weeks of promotions, how many leads is that? And if they're coming in different places, how do we make sure we follow up with them? So does this sound familiar to you? Have you ever had that sense of, I know that there's people interested, but I'm not really sure who needs what next? If that sounds familiar to you, just drop familiar in the chat. Right, so here is the shift I want you to really make around this. Your pipeline is not just a place to store names. It is not just a pretty spreadsheet, and it's not just a list of people who might, in quotation marks, buy one day, right? A good pipeline actually helps you make decisions. It tells you things like, this person needs the first contact, this person needs a follow-up, or this one needs to rebook, and this one's waiting on a proposal, and this person needs onboarding, and this person's not yet ready, so they should be nurtured, right? And maybe you've got somebody who's just not a good fit, and that's okay too. So this is what makes that process feel a lot calmer, because you're not trying to hold everything in your head. I always say, if it's stuck in your head, it is not a process. You can actually start to see what happens when you can see your pipeline. So today we're going to walk through this in 3 parts. First, where the leads are usually leaking. Second, what the pipeline stages actually mean. And the third one is how to attach actions to each stage so that it keeps moving. All right, so before we start sort of rebuilding the whole thing, I want you to think about, where could you potentially find a leak? Because this is where people start to overcomplicate things. They think, right, I need to redo my entire CRM or rewrite every single email, or just let's create more automations. And for me, that's fun. Or maybe you just need to update every form, clean up every lead page, and suddenly the job starts to feel really, really huge. So instead, start really small, okay? Ask yourself, where are leads actually getting stuck? Now, they might be getting stuck right at the beginning, right? When a new inquiry comes in and nobody reviews it quickly enough. Now, they might be getting stuck before the first contact because the lead's there, but no one has actually called them, emailed them, or messaged them. They might be getting stuck after maybe that first contact attempt because somebody's already tried once, and then you forget to set up the next task to follow up with people. I always say, never finish a conversation without booking your next conversation. Preferably, I like to get them to confirm, what if I ring you back in 3 months? Shall we check in then? They say yes, create a task. Or even better, book a follow-up call if you can do that, right? They might be getting stuck after the actual sales call because the conversations happened, but the next step was not clearly recorded. Are they at proposal stage? Do they need to check with a significant other or a business partner? Do they need to, move things around to fit in what it is that you do? So they might be getting stuck then after the offer itself has been sent, or that proposal, because maybe the follow-up part after you send out the offer feels a little uncomfortable. It's like, I've sent it now. Let them just sit with it and wait, right? Or they might be getting stuck because they said not now, and it's still a potential person, but you've not moved them into a nurture process to take care of those people until a not now turns to maybe now, right? So your first job is not to fix everything. Your first job is actually to notice the pattern, right? Ask yourself, where do inquiries usually come in from? When they come in, then what happens immediately after someone inquires? And then where do I most often forget to follow up? Another question you can ask yourself is, which stage feels messy or unclear? And where are the people sitting without a next action? Now, I see this a lot when we jump into people's accounts. They get that first lead, it hits, and they've sent the first email, but nobody actually triages that lead. They're like, oh, I got a new email. Great. But what? Who is this person? Do they warrant a phone call? Have they been opting in for the last 2 years, or are they brand new? Right? So which part of the process are also areas in which relies too much on you just remembering? All right. Now, the last one is really important because it's the process that depends on your memory. And I'll tell you again, your memory will break. It is not a process, not because you're bad at business. You're just a human, right? You got a lot of stuff going on, I'm sure, just like most business owners. So a pipeline is actually going to give you that visibility. It's going to help you see that opportunity before it gets forgotten. All right. So if you think you know where your leaks are, drop leak in the chat and you can tell us, where do you think that might be happening or where it needs that attention? So is it stuff like your first contact, when they first contact? Is it following up on no-shows? Is it proposal follow-ups? Is it payment pending follow-ups? Is it nurtures? Just name the area that you think that you're not doing a good enough job following up like you should. Got a couple of everythings, all the things. Okay. So here, let's move into the second section now, where we're going to talk through each of the different stages of a pipeline. And I want you to remember this as we go. The goal is not to have a fancy pipeline, right? The goal is to have stages that are actually useful. So what has happened so far? You need to think in that stage and what needs to happen next. So let's walk through some of the stages that you might use. Now, every business will set this up slightly differently on how you like to manage your leads, but let's just start with some simple ones and you can add more in later or merge them, but at least have something, right? You may not need every single one in your business exactly as I say them, but these will actually give you a really strong structure to work from. So the first one is new lead. Stage number 1, write that one down, new lead. That is your starting point. Someone who has just entered your world. Now, they might have filled in a form, maybe replied to a message, downloaded something, booked something, shown interest, chatted to you at a networking event, right? At this stage, the lead should not sit there for days. It needs to be noticed and moved to the right place. So once the new lead comes in, it gives you the opportunity to say, oh, new lead. Then if you don't know who that person is, we move it to the second stage, which is triage. All right. Now, this is where we start to sort the leads. This is the real opportunity here, right? So what we want to do is we want to look at their contact record. We want to see, is there any missing information that we can find? Social media links, phone numbers, website addresses, right? Do they need a reply? Do they need a call? Are they even a good fit? And should someone in the team actually handle it? So the things that we do when we get a new lead that comes in, we look at it first and we think, do we know this person? Have they been around before? And then we would check, do they already have follow-up tasks in place? If not, they moved into that triage section. Then when we're triaging, we're checking their workflows to see what workflows that they're currently in. We're also reviewing their tags to see what activity and status tags that they have to give us a bit of an idea about the different things that they may have already opted into in the past. Then we look at the activity to see what type of things have they been looking at and clicking on and opening. Then once we've done a bit of an overview of where they sit in workflows and tags and activities, we have a look at bookings and tasks to make sure that nothing's already there. Now, once that's done, if they already have a booking or a task, they've already been triaged unless you're just starting triage. So if they haven't been triaged before, then we will look at their email address. Is their email address just a Gmail, or does it end with something that could be a website? And if so, we're going to go check it, and we're going to go and see if that website is actually active, and then we'll add it to the contact record. We'll also see if we can have just a very quick look on LinkedIn and Facebook, Instagram, to see if we can see them in there as well. If they have, especially inside of OmniSam, if they've DM'd you through social media and the account couldn't combine them, sometimes you've got two accounts. You've got a social media chat account, and then you've got the one that they've opted in through a form. We just merge them together so that both conversations happen in the same place. So we do what we can to try and add as much information to the contacts record. We don't spend a lot of time, usually about 5 minutes, just having a quick read, removing them from workflows that they shouldn't be in, removing them from maybe old temp tags that were added in the past, but just giving it a bit of a cleanup. Now, triage is really helpful because not every inquiry should be treated the same way. Some need a really fast call, some will need more information, some just need to be moved to nurture, and others are just not a good fit. So then once we've triaged it, we then move them into needs first contact. Now, needs first contact means what it says. This person needs the proper first response. Now, if you work with us, you know that they're already going to be getting an email if they've opted into something. But the thing that the human can do is pick up the phone, right? Or send a personal DM or a text message and make it very personal. All right, so whatever fits your process. Now, this stage really matters because timing makes all the difference. If you've ever heard that saying, success loves speed, right? And then speed to lead, this stage really matters because when someone has just shown interest, they are warm, right? They no longer, you don't want them to just sit there untouched. They're more likely to move forward if you reach out to them. So one of our rules is first contact, ASAP, no longer than one business day or within 24 hours. Now, of course, if you're not working on weekends, that's fine. But if you're strapped for cash, I'd be calling them during, of course, allowed calling times within, your region or their region. So once you move out of first contact, we've made the first contact. After that, we add a note to the contact's record to state what the outcome of that first contact is. Now, 80 to 90% of the time, it's going to be leave a voicemail or unable to leave a voicemail. Then we will send an SMS and an email to let them know we tried to call them. Then we use our ATC rules, our attempt to contact. Okay, now this is for leads who need another outreach. The key here is to not get too vague though. It means that someone needs to reach out to this person, not someday, not when I remember, but with using those attempt to contact rules. And we've got other training about the attempt to contact rules that we've shared in the past. So you want to leave them in that ATC due section and make sure everybody in that has either a task or an appointment booked. If they don't, then they need to. All right. So once you've done that ATC due, they then moved into contact attempted. Now, every morning when we log in, we look through that contact attempted stage and we look for any tasks that are due that day, and we drag them back into the ATC due stage. So every day you need to clean out that ATC due stage, either create an appointment, add a task, move them to long-term nurture, or not a good fit. And then they move back into contact attempted until their next task is due. And then in the morning when you're triaging your pipeline, you just drag them back to ATC due. All right. Now, after we've got stage 1, new lead. Stage 2, needs triage. Stage 3 is, I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head because I look at the pipeline every day. New lead, needs triage, first contact needed, ATC due, and then a contact attempted. The next one down the line is engaged in conversation. So this is now where they're actively communicating with you. They're replying, they're asking questions, they're showing interest. Now, this stage can feel productive, but it can also get really messy if the conversations have no direction. So the question here is, what are we moving them towards? Is it a call, a decision, a proposal, a nurture path? There needs to be that next step, and you will know it by looking at either what's written on the task or the notes that you add to the contact record. And another note around notes on a contact record, we have another rule. I got this one from working at Centrelink. Never open a file, never speak to a person without leaving a note on the contact record. It allows you to quickly look through all the previous actions that have taken place. All right, now the next stage is call booked. Pretty clear, right? They've booked a call, but the job is not done there. The goal is to then help them actually show up and be prepared. Now, that might mean the confirmation emails that go out, the reminders, setting expectations for the call. Is there any pre-call information that you want them to either watch or maybe a survey for them to do? Anything that actually then helps that call happen smoothly. Now, the next stage after that is no-show needs rebook, right? This is a really important stage. The no-show does not always mean not interested. Sometimes people just forget. Life happens. They still need what it is you offer, but they just kind of missed that appointment. So rather than letting that lead just disappear, having them in this stage gives you a clear indication that that person needs to be rebooked. Now, the next one after that, it's called sales call completed. Now, this means exactly what it means. Now the lead has to move from sales call completed after it's done. Now, this is where a lot of people kind of stall because they feel like this is a really big thing, right? But after the call, there still needs to be a next step. Is it a task to remember to follow up in a week or 2 or 3 or 3 months? Do you need to send a proposal? Do you need to process a payment? Do you just need to follow up and you're going back to the ATCs? Or maybe they're like, not yet, long-term nurture, or you've decided they're not a good fit. So something needs to happen. So they go into completed, you would add some notes, and then you would action whatever that next step is. Now, the one after call completed is offer or proposal sent. So this means that you've sent out an offer, a quote, a proposal, something's gone out to them. We always send a recap email after an appointment, and if needed, a proposal is always attached to that. And I want to say this clearly, sending the proposal is not the end of the process, okay? It is just another stage in the process. This person needs more questions answered. Maybe they need a few more reminders or more support. They might just simply need to have a very clear check-in date. All right, now the next stage after that is called decision pending. Now, this is when someone is considering right? They might have to go and talk to a business partner or, their loved one. Maybe it's just not the right time. They're finishing up something else first before they can move to you. Or maybe it's budgeting. They need to check cash flow, or even their priorities, it could be. So this is where follow-up can start to feel a little awkward because the decision is pending. It doesn't mean that you just leave them alone forever to make that decision. It means you still need to follow up, but do it respectfully and clearly. So you're not just, assuming that they're going to convert. You just want to continue to help them. I always say you can't force somebody to pull out their credit card and pay, but what you can do and what you can control is continuing to give them help and give them resources until they're educated enough to make a decision if it's the right choice for them. So constantly giving more resources, videos, things for them to help, send them testimonials, case studies, connect them with clients, past clients, right? Now, once they've said yes, some of them can't pay straight away, so we move them to payment pending. Now, this means the person is really close. They may have said yes, but the payment was not completed, say, on the call. So the stage needs really good visibility. That's why we have it, because otherwise you can assume everything has landed when maybe it hasn't. Maybe they lost the link. Maybe they missed the invoice. Maybe it accidentally went to spam. Or maybe when they clicked the link, it didn't work, right? Or maybe they need to be told exactly what that next step is. So this stage helps you catch that. Why haven't they yet processed that payment? Now, once they have paid, the next stage is onboarding needed. Now, this is that handover point. They're moving from a lead to a client. And this part matters because the sales experience should flow into the client experience. So when someone says yes, they need to know exactly what happens next. So when somebody says yes to us, first thing we do, book their connection call to get all of everything connected and integrated. But in between that, we know that we don't want to just send them away with nothing to do. So we send them into some training that they need to watch. And then we get them to start to prepare all the things that they need to bring along to that connection call. So it gives them something to do between the, yes, here's my money, and then the start of the onboarding process. And I mean, for us, there's an email that goes out and tells them what to do, but we need to know who is sitting in that onboarding process. Then once, of course, you've done the full onboarding process that you have, then they move to the next stage, which is current client, right? This means now they have actually converted, they've been onboarded, and now they're being served. And at this point, they should not be sitting in the active sales pipeline as if they have still to decide. You want to keep this pipeline nice and clean so that it makes everything easy to read. So they sit in the customer client section, but we've got another pipeline for current clients. So they've got other stages, but we're not talking about those today. We're talking about the lead pipeline. So then beyond that, we've got a few other stages that we can move people in. Now, the one is a not now or nurture. Okay, this one is a big one because not now doesn't mean no forever. Sometimes the timing's wrong. They need to build more trust. They don't understand everything that you do yet. They need more information. They're interested, but they're just not ready. Now, these people should not be forgotten. They should be nurtured. Then, for example, they drop into another pipeline. They would just move back to new lead. So we can say, oh, they've opted into something else. You would open it. You would check it. Do you need to triage it? Do you move it to ATC? Now, another one is not interested. That's the one after that stage. Not interested means clearly the person has said no. That's okay. It's clear. It's helpful. I say thank you to everybody who says no, because then that takes another job off my hands. I don't have to follow up with them. And it's so helpful to us. It means you can stop sending all that energy to that person. It also keeps your pipeline much cleaner. Now, the other one, next stage, is bad fit. So you've either triaged or you've had a call with this person and they're just not a good fit for you, right? It might be that it's the offer that doesn't fit them. You just can't serve them. They're not your ideal client. Maybe they don't see the value in what it is that you do, or, you know, the timing might be 2 years too early. Like for me, they've just started a business and they don't see that they need anything else yet. They haven't struggled, or they're only just starting to create a course or put an offer together and it feels all exciting. Come to me 2 years down the track when you're still trying to put it together. That's when you probably need us more, because you're like, I've been trying to do this for 2 years. I need help. Or it could be a budget fit. So this way, we can actually work as well by seeing these bad fits, is we can look back and reflect on them. Are we actually attracting the right people, right? Because not every lead becomes a client, but a good pipeline helps us to grow, but also helps us to make better decisions. Maybe that promotion that you're running is attracting lots of leads, but every person you call is we've done this, right? We ran a campaign where we forgot to put questions on a lead form before they submitted their email address. And if you ever see one of those ads pop up on Meta and you just kind of click forward or swipe up, it automatically fills in the email address and phone number and it just submits and you don't know how it happened. And then we start picking up the phone and calling, and these are just older people who are scrolling through Facebook looking at funny dog videos, or, as my husband, watching cars race, right? So that made us think, oh, what's going on in that pipeline? Why are all these people a bad fit? And when we went back and looked at it, we didn't put any questions in that lead form to make people stop and say, yes, I'm in business. Yes, I've got staff, or no, I don't have staff. And yes, I'm at startup or established business stage, right? So that allowed us to fix it. All right. Now, there's a couple of other stages that we've got at the end as well. One is abandoned, no phone number. So our pipeline is for calling people, messaging people, following up with people. If there's no phone number, then the automation's pretty much going to take care of most of it for us. So this is where leads go when there's not enough information yet to follow up. So, for example, somebody's opted in, given you an email. There is no way that you know what their phone number is, so we just move them there, okay? And then we've got abandoned attempts completed. So if you're following the ATC rules, this means that your follow-up process has been completed and there's been no response over those 9 attempts to contact over that, 6-month period that we lay out for you in our ATC rules. So you don't need to keep every lead open forever. At some point, you've actually got to decide that I've completed the attempts to contact this opportunity and they are no longer active. So this is where the real value is in this stage, right? You start to remove the guesswork. You look at the pipeline, you know who needs attention, not because you're trying to control every outcome, but because you're creating a better experience for those people who have shown interest. So now, let me know in the chat, looking at your own business, which stage feels messiest? Is it the new lead, first contact, no-shows, proposals, decision pending, payment pending, or nurture? Okay, so let us know in the chat what that might be. All right, so let's move into our next core teaching segment, which is about making every stage actionable. And this is part that's going to change everything. A pipeline only works if you do, right? Otherwise, it's just a really colorful list. So once you've got all your stages together, and the way in which you will build this, when you jump into OmniSam, on the left-hand menu, you head down to opportunities. Now, in there, along the top, you click on pipelines, and this is where you create all the stages that you want to put people into. Now, if you've got the business in a box, guess what? It's already there for you. It's a basic starting one, and any of these stages that we went through, you can add these in as well. So, for example, new lead isn't just a label, it needs an action. So a new lead, when it lands there, we need to figure out if this is someone we know or needs triaging ASAP. As soon as you see a new lead, then we move them to triage. Someone needs to triage. Then first contact means someone needs to reach out. Then your ATC due means they're due today or they're late. Then contact attempted means that you've attempted to contact them, you've set another due date to follow up with them, and then they just live there until their due date comes back up. Then you can move them to engage. So this means the conversation is starting to take some sort of direction, right? You've had a conversation on the phone. You know they're a good fit. You haven't actually booked a sales call yet, but you are in that engaged conversation, whether it's via the phone or even if it's through DMs on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook, for example. Then call booked means, well, the person needs reminders and set expectations as well. No show means need to rebook. Offer and proposal means need to follow up. Decision pending means need helpful check-ins. Payment pending means remove friction and help them complete the next step. Onboarding, well, that means that they need to move into the client journey. And a not now means send them into that long-term nurture. And if you've got OmniSam, you know we give you that 2 year of long-term nurture that you get to plug in at 96 emails that go out over 2 years and then they rinse and repeat, right? That way it makes sense who's not yet ready. And then if they opt back in, they're going to drop back over into new lead. So this is where automation can really help. But I want to be really clear here. Automation does not fix a messy process. You need to know the process first. Then you can automate the parts that should not rely on your memory anymore, because the goal is not to automate everything, right? Remember, the goal is to make sure that we automate the stuff that we don't need to do so that it frees us up to do more time and spend more time with that human-to-human connection, right? So some of the things might be, personal tasks, reminders for you and your team, sending messages, right? Some of these might be workflows, others might need that human-to-human connection part. Now, this is what I want you to do. I want you to start to get into a very simple follow-up rhythm. So every morning, any new leads, triage first thing in the morning, contact within that chosen time frame, second attempt, third attempt within those chosen time frames. Remembering to do those helpful follow-ups. So this is a process that we do. We open up our computer in the morning when we're ready to jump into pipelines. We jump into pipelines and we look for any new leads. That's the first thing we look at. Then we actually go right to the end of towards the end of the pipeline, and we look at upcoming appointments, need to rebook, in conversation, any of those that have gotten past the ATC section. Are there any follow-ups in there that need to be done? Prioritize those because they're hotter, as well as first lead, right? First lead and those ones that are in conversation and above. Then once we've done that, we then look through the contact attempted stage, and we see, is there any due dates for today? And we drop them into ATC. Then we just sit there and we do all the ATCs for the day. Okay, and remember, always book your next follow-up, whether it's booking an appointment, setting a task as you're working through the ATCs. So it means that when you wake up in the morning, you know what you're going to do. And then in the afternoon, check that again. Honestly, if I see a lead come in, the quicker you can get to that brand new lead, the better. The rest of them, you should be slotting times in your calendar for pipeline management and follow-up. right? It is that important that you do it daily so that you're not just waking up at 10 o'clock at night and going, oh, shit, I forgot to reach out to that person who was really hot. And the good thing about a pipeline, it shows you where the lead is. The action moves them forward. You've got to do the actions, right? But you do need both. So quick check in here. Who knows that they need to follow up this week? Come on, let me know in the chat. Do you know you need to follow up this week? Or not really? Still not sure how to do that. Is it a bit blurry? Okay. All right. So here's what I recommend that you do. I don't want you to try to create a perfect pipeline. I just want you to start using a very simple version of it and jump in and have a look at it daily. Also, even if nothing changes, it's still good to get into that pattern of checking that pipeline daily. You'll learn more if you create that simple version first. Better than spending weeks building the perfect version that you don't really know is perfect because you haven't used it yet. I'd also not create too many stages too soon. If every stage variation has its own, like, lots and lots and lots of stages, it can be really, really hard to manage. So start with stages that actually help you make decisions, okay? And don't use your inbox and your emails as a pipeline. That otherwise you're just replying to people based on memory, okay? And people that say not now, make sure they don't just go anywhere. And in regards to your no-shows, dead leads, people who don't book, make sure that you are putting them at a higher priority. Okay, so I want you to pick the messiest point in your process first. If it's new leads sitting there too long, fix the intake and triage. If it's calls being missed, fix the reminders and the rebooking process. If it's your proposals that are going quiet, map out the proposal follow-up sequence. Or if people are saying not now and they vanish and you forget to nurture them, well, fix what can make that a big difference with the value that you provide them to warm them up. Okay, so you don't have to rebuild the whole thing this week, but I want you to just pick a small, messy stage and then write out that process so that you can begin there and it gives you that ability to grow beyond that original sort of way in which you're actually following up. This is a great sign. You know, once you're getting into that regular cadence of making sure that you're following up. And then the system allows you to not miss anything. So your GSD for this week, we're going to get shit done, is go and download that workbook that we've given you. And I want you to look at and update your pipeline stages, give them a cleanup, but then just choose one stage that you're going to put people in and clean up. Not the whole pipeline, just one stage. Do you have like 5,000 emails and they've been sitting there and you've never triaged them? Well, start there. Don't do all 5,000. Look for phone numbers that are in your local area or country and start there first. Or maybe their engagement scores are higher. Start there first. I literally have because I've got a whole heap of emails I brought over from an old system that I was using, that we slowly go in and choose 5 to 10 people from that list every day if there's not enough ATCs in the pipeline for that day, right? So just one stage. Pick it, and the one that you feel that's probably costing you the most amount of money. More than likely, it's going to be the new leads, the triaging, needs first contact, or ATCs due, I would say is probably where you're at. Unless you've got tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars of opportunities sitting in your pipeline and no one's closed, well, then it could be your stage of offer sent or decision pending or payment pending. Have a look at that. What are you doing that could be improved? All right. So once you do that, then start putting people into that pipeline. Make sure you know who's responsible for the next action. If you're a solo entrepreneur, it's you. If you've got a team, it's your setter or your closer. And then how will you know that the work's been completed? The task is ticked and a note is added to the file and a new task is created. That's what we do. A note must be added and another task or appointment must be put onto the contact record. Unless, of course, there are a bad fit or a long-term nurture, right? Now, sure, it's going to take you a little bit of work, but because you're just focusing in on one stage with a clear purpose, get really good at that one clear action, and then get into that regular cadence of doing it every single day, or at least every business day. Okay, so as we wrap up, I want you to remember that your pipeline is not there just to make your business feel complicated. It's actually there to help you understand what is the clear next step. It's for you and for your team, and also for that person who's inquiring and showing interest, because your pipeline actually helps you to see where the opportunities are. Who needs a reply, a follow-up, a rebook, a nurture, right? Or who needs to be closed out? This is the point that I want you to get to with this, that it is that regular cadence that you do every single day. All right. So for those of you who want to understand more about how to manage a pipeline or to see one in action, if you're listening to this on the podcast, then just head to omnisam.com.au to grab yourself a demo, or go watch a demo or book a demo. Or if you're listening or watching to this over on social, just comment the word demo and one of our team will reach out to you and you can come in. We'll share screen and I'll show you what a pipeline actually looks like. I can't show you right now because it's got private information in it, but I can give you a demo inside so you can see how they move through the process. And for those of you who are here in the VIP room, we will be going dark and I'll give you a little sneak peek and I'll show you our process and I will walk you through what it is that we do every day so you can see it in action. All right. So before we wrap up, what's one key takeaway you got from today? Who's going to come up and share a key takeaway? I see Deborah in the room. Deborah. What's one key takeaway that you got from today?
I think you've got Sharon up there.
I think, there we go. You just start talking and there you are.
Oh, one key. Seeing that I've been concentrating so much on building the content of my business, it's quite eye-opening to see it's not completely new to me, of course, because I've been with you for a while, but there's a lot on the other side. So I don't know that I can say one key takeaway, but the whole thing was worthwhile for me today because I need to start thinking about how to organize my day, how to, once leads start coming in, how important it is. So
yeah,
the whole thing.
And I'll give you a little look-see at our pipeline today.
Yeah.
What about you, Sharon? What was a key takeaway? Just one key takeaway from today.
A pipeline only works if you do.
Yes. Good one. I love that. All right. I see a few other people that have kind of jumped in late. So we're going to go dark now because we have hit our hour. But thank you everyone for joining us. And for anybody who's interested in learning more about OmniSam or just seeing how a pipeline works for you, then just comment the word demo or head to omnisam.com.au and we'll show you specifically how it does what it does. All right. And for those in the room, what I might do, Ash is on outbound calls today. Maybe I'll bring her in and she can show you as she works. That might be fun too, to actually see what she's doing and how she's doing the calls. All right, my loves, have an absolutely awesome week. Never let anyone dull your sparkle. Make sure you get at least one income-producing activity done every day. And Sharon's already started to dance. And every day be marketing. All right, guys, have a good one. And I'll see you same time next week, 10 a.m. Melbourne time, for our regular stream before we go dark and coach for the next 4 hours. All righty, guys, have a good one. Bye for now.
You've been hiding in the shadows way too long. You always thought that you were weak, but babe, you're wrong. Yeah, you better step into the light, just give it a try. Think that it's time you let that spark out. You've been hiding in the shadows way too long. And who cares if you might mess it up? You're stronger than the others think. And who cares if you might mess it up? Go ahead and shine, darling. Go ahead and shine, my dear. 'Cause who cares if you might mess it up? Just shine. You shouldn't doubt yourself, 'cause you're a work of art.